No, I mean, imaging.
has to say agree or whatever. Okay, so Jan, let me make you a co-host, or are you ready?
I am a co-host, yes. I came in as a co-host.
Okay, no, you're totally good, and Rita, I'm gonna make you a co-host.
Okay, because I don't want to be a host.
Yep, no, I made you a co-host.
Good.
So
I'll let-
it's good, so then you're going to.
What is that?
Okay, so anybody that has announcements, who wants to make an announcement for the meeting, like, what do you call it? Retreat? Retreat, any retreat announcement? Jan?
I can, but I can't.
Okay, wait a minute, I will, no, I'm gonna move the camera to you, or you could come over here and sit in my chair.
Okay.
But I just we haven't gone live on Facebook yet, I just wanna know who else is making an announcement besides me?
If Grace isn't on, I'll do it.
Okay, so then, come on over right by me. And you sit down. Here's our camera.
Don't step on your jacket.
Oh, I just don't want you to. Yeah. All right, so here, let's spotlight. Oh, that's cute. Spotlight for everybody. No, we're not gonna unmute, but we're gonna go live on Facebook. And so.
I did. Grab it, thank you.
Resistant.
Oh. Well, we can share if you want. Yeah. You wanna
start cutting?
you just wanna cut it right now. 9.
60 inches.
Well, so they're 10 6-inch pieces. I'm sorry. I had to like.
It is 60 inches.
It is. It is. Yes.
Do you have a
I
tape?
know. It is.
That's all right.
Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, we're so darn excited to see you all. Welcome to Upper Midwest Bead Society. Let's Be Live. We have got with us all sorts of magnificent fun today. And we are going to
With a gong.
Perfect.
Yeah. That was well done. Hi.
We're going to be doing Tree of Life. And so before that, we have just a couple announcements. And so as you can see, we're here at the United Senior Center. Say hi, everybody.
That was well done. Hi.
People at home, everybody at home, wave at home.
Hi.
And so we're so darn excited you could join us today. And so we are going to start with just a couple of announcements. And I guess I removed the wrong spotlight. And so we are so excited. So Jan, take it away. She's our fearless president.
Okay, so the next big event coming up after the fun today is the bead retreat. Starts on, let's see, 19th. The 19th, and it goes from a Wednesday through a Sunday. You can come any combination of days. So, join us. It's not too late to get your registration in, but do it really fast because I think on the 12th, we need to turn in our numbers. And after that, we can fudge them a little bit, but get your registrations in now. And all the information is on the UMBS website. Okay.
Yay, that's super exciting. And so we also are having a special giveaway for all of our people who joined us today. We have a little bit of a glare here, but there's better Toho Challenge 2025, and we're giving away 2 mini kits. So one will be virtual and one will be in person here. One is by UMBS and the other one is donated by me and Team Toho. And so we're so excited. And so everybody who's joining us on Facebook, put in your comments so that we know you're all watching. And so if you could say, you know, Toho Beats connecting people, that would be so super darn great. But we want to know you're here. So comment, say hi, we'll put your name in the drawing. And UMDS will ship one virtually. And that also goes for all of you watching on Zoom. Put your name in the chat, say hi. And if you can say Tahoe Beats connecting people, hi everyone. You know, then, you know, we know you're there. And so we will then contact you and put your name if you're the winner. So we're so darn excited. So join us for all the different fun we've got coming up at the retreat and our upcoming new meetings in April. And so we're so darn excited. But for now, we have in person. Oh my gosh. There
It's
we
me.
go. She's so beautiful. And so Natalia of Be the Vibes, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Be the Vibes? Because that's, I know, a whole like partnership here too, right?
It is, it is. I'm only one half of Be the Vibes. I couldn't do it without my co-lead person, Kayla Bromletsky. Yay.
I didn't have a dong for that one.
I know, I know, I know. There we go. Woo! Couldn't do it without her. She actually got me into working with her at Lotus Beads and Jewelry. Basically made me. But it was worth it because now I'm here. Look at me go. So Be the Vibes is our business. We go to craft shows and sell at craft shows currently. So that's where you'll find us. We're also on Instagram and Facebook at Be the Vibes. So make sure to check us out.
Yay.
Woo! That's us. So should I get started?
Take it away.
Goodness. Well, it is my first time teaching on camera, so please bear with me. I will do my best. I am gonna go ahead and switch over to our
Click away this little X
Oh.
and that little X.
get rid of that. Oh,
And then that one
Oop.
over there. I don't
I'm
know
getting
what-
there, guys. I'm getting there. This is just an okay.
Yep, that one's an okay.
Okay. We'll get to the class, I promise. All right. Okay, so let's get to my hands here. There we go. Oh, I did it. Yay, jazz hands. All right, so we're going to be doing the Tree of Life pendant. And so starting off, we've got two different wire sizes. We've got our 18 gauge wire, which is going to be the outside of the tree. And we've got our 26 gauge wire, which is going to be the trunk of the tree and holding on to those leaves and stuff like that. So, which is our chip beads, which is something that we will also need. I've got some Larimar beads, but you can use any chip beads as well. As you can see, I'm using Parawire. It's one of my favorites to use, which is just really good to bend and maneuver around. So I would also say just kind of starting off, if you're starting off with wire, something that I have noticed is that our antique copper, your vintage bronze, or the copper color for these is going to be just a little bit softer. So just a little easier to work with starting off, but the silver and other colored wires also work really, really well for this project. So just a little bit stiffer because it's just got a little bit more coating on it. So starting us off, we are going to cut 9 inches of our 18 gauge wire to start with. We will do our 26 gauge in a little bit. But we're gonna get started with the 18 gauge here. And I didn't cut mine earlier, so we're doing it live. Right. Now, the other important thing that you will need is going to be some sort of mandrel. I have with me just a bottle of kava oil, right? That's what I'm using, just to have this firm round shape to be able to shape my outside of my tree. So what I typically do to start with, and what you'll see in the instructions, is straightening and hardening our wire with our nylon jaw pliers. The nylon jaw pliers are super nice, just to straighten and harden it just a little bit, that wire. There we go. Sorry, just trying to keep it in the camera. All right. And then what I will do with my wire is, using my round shape, we are going to bend the wire around, and just one side is going to be a little bit longer than the other, right? So we want to have some length on this side and a little bit of a shorter tail here. So it's going to be about 2-3 inches here, right? What I do is have them cross fully like that. And then I'm taking, I prefer bent nose pliers, but you can use just like your chain nose pliers if you would prefer. But using my bent nose pliers, I am going to push one side up and away from your jar, or container or pill bottle, whatever is firm and round that you can make that circle on. So it should look something like that. All right. Now we are going to go ahead and
Desired, like 2 inches, 3 inches?
so I would say we want to have some, probably starting off with about 2-3. If when you start making them a lot, you might get a little bit shorter, but just starting off, I'd do like at least 2 inches up top here. We will trim it a little bit later. It's just mostly to, you'll see later, we're going to do a little hammering. So it's kind of to save your fingers a little bit. You don't want to get too close to the hammer. So once we've got our bit hanging out 90 degrees away from our round jar, we will wrap our longer tail around 3 times like that. And we try to get as close as we can to this wire here when we're wrapping that around. Okay. Now we'll have this tail here. This is a smaller round. The 9 inches is made for up to like a 2-inch, like 2 inches across here, right? This is more like a 1-inch piece. So it's just a smaller circle, but it's made to, like, the instructions are up to a larger, you can do a larger circle with it. So that's why I just have a lot of extra, but that's okay. So with this tail, I'm going to go ahead and trim that as close as I can to my, I'll just call it a stem, right? So it should look something like that, letting it kind of focus in there for us. All right. Now, we're getting to the point where we can hammer and harden our circle. So I've taken my circle off of my mandrel that I had, my jar, and I get myself prepared for hammering this. And I'm gonna try not to hit this camera. It seems like a bad idea.
I guess of that.
It's
Maybe
okay.
that-
Well, I'll be gentle with it. It's okay. So I've got my steel bench block. This one is particularly shiny. I just got it. So, they're usually not quite that shiny, but, I've got my steel bench block and I've got a nylon hammer. The nylon hammer is going to help in keeping, the round shape of the wire, a little bit. It will flatten out a little bit, just because you want it to be a little bit stiffer and that's just how it's going to work. But it's meant to stiffen up the outside of your tree so that when you're wearing it around, it's a little bit more durable. Also helps us when we are making the tree on the inside. But as you can hear, people are ahead of me, so I'm gonna get to hammering. All good. So what I like to do is I leave myself some room here, right, with the tail so that I can hold on to it. And I try to hammer kind of on the side of my steel bench block so I'm not hammering this circle, like the part where we wrapped so much. Because that can just be a little bit problematic. So we're just gonna, yeah, that's not so bad. I'm not gonna hit that camera. We'll be fine. So I like to go over it. I like to go over it really good on one side and then flip it over and then go really good on the other side. Right. There we go. So now we're just a little bit more stiff with the outside. Great. Does anyone need mine? We're passing around the steel bench block. So just offering my newly freed bench block. You guys need it? No? Okay. I'll leave it over here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll get my assistant over here. Kayla. Will you deliver this to someone in need? Thank you. All right. As you can hear, we're sharing our steel bench block and our nylon hammer. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the top part, yeah, the stem should still be soft. Right. I'm gonna give it a second so we have our
And how is
hammering
it-
done.
Is that like really loud? And is that hammering like too loud for anybody on Zoom? You can unmute and.
Nope.
so you're
Oh,
okay.
they're shaking.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Perfect.
Never
We're-
hammered.
Thank you.
We're all good.
We're all learning. We're all learning. And while we are all hammering, the next thing that we will need is the 26 gauge wire. So with the 26 gauge wire, we're gonna need 10 6-inch pieces. So 10 6-inch pieces. At the top, it says 60 inches. So it's gonna be chopped up. So
6 inches.
You got it. Oh,
If your circle is bigger, then you have longer wire.
if your circle is bigger, you can do longer wire. The 6 inches should accommodate up to like a 2-inch across guy. I feel like that would work for you because when you can I see your big circle? So we've got one that's a little bit bigger here.
Soft like spool. For
Yeah,
example.
for
You
sure,
know,
for sure.
Everybody has that left over.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
really nice size.
So what we're doing is we just need it to be long enough, maybe like an inch and a half or 2 inches on each side. So maybe I would do 7 inches for you, right?
Sure,
Yeah, that's a great question.
Ratio, because, I mean, and then I was
Mhm.
also gonna make a bigger one. but, you know,
Sure.
using my next favorite
Yeah.
object. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's.
yeah,
Because for wall
Yeah.
hanging, you know, I would make and use this
Yeah.
as my ratio size. Um,
so we're just gonna talk for just a moment about if you're going to upscale, like in size, your for jewelry, right? The 18 gauge is typically pretty good because you're wearing it and stuff. It's not, it is thick enough for it. You can, if you're gonna do something more around this size, a really big size, right? I would maybe recommend that you go up from the 18 gauge maybe to more like a 16 gauge, just so that it helps hold its shape a little bit more as you are adding in your tree middle parts and like to hold probably bigger beads you would want on those typically. So I would say if you're doing something a bit larger, more like a wall hanging, then maybe upgrade that outside wire to more of a 16 gauge.
would you still use the 26? Or would you up that
I
to
think-
24 as well?
I think I would probably upgrade it a little bit to 24 gauge. You could use the 26 gauge. It really kind of depends on the holes that you have in like your chips or the beads that you have. If you can upgrade that a little bit, it would hold its shape better in a bigger, if you have a bigger round. So I would say upping to more of like a 24 gauge could be useful if we upscale it more. Then you're upscaling your beads and it gets a little bit more heavy and we don't want it to be a wilty, sad tree. We want it to be a strong tree. Well, then it's sad by nature. I did at one time have a tree that I made, a class that I made with that was a weeping willow where it used chain to dangle down. So it was cool. It does it does tangle though. So just so you know, yeah. Yeah, you can mix in some chain if you want to have some like vines. So that's a possibility. But I'm probably super behind y'all because I haven't been cutting my wire, so let me get to it. Oh, and I can give you back your you're gonna need that soon. Yeah, absolutely. Hmm. Sure. Yeah, like different beads. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You could, yeah, you could do that. It's a little, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's not, I mean, I think that would look really nice. Yeah. I think the only thing to watch out for is just, that it might be harder. It's gonna be harder to twist the thicker the wire you get in there, but yeah, you can vary up the sizes for sure. If you have some, yeah, that helps. Yeah. Some gloves. All right, so I need 10 of those. I'm gonna catch up, I promise. And then we'll get to the next step.
Why do you use pair wire?
Oh, Because I like pair wire. Why would what advantages do you think pair wire has?
Handled like a manager. I prefer parawire to artistic wire. Parawire is a really good starter wire if you are planning on keep upgrading to sterling silver. It is a copper core. It comes in a lot of different finishes and it has a non-tarnish coating over top of it. And we love them just because we typically see
They're our
them in
friends.
Tucson and demo with Tucson with them because they're such nice guys from Jersey.
They are so nice.
But yeah, I like it because especially for something like this where you're dealing with the smaller wire, being able to tuck it in without worrying about scratching the coating and having the copper coating on the inside. It's nice.
So how is parawire different than from the other?
That- Those would be more, in my opinion, those have been closer to artistic wire for me.
Just like wire from the thrift store.
You can use that too. yeah.
That's just.
That's just
copper.
raw
There's
copper.
No non-tarnished coating on it,
So it's
Mhm.
gonna like be able to
and it might be
oxidize
softer.
and stuff. Yeah, that's for sure softer.
It's very soft.
Yeah. You might need some extra hammering with that.
That is.
I'm almost there. I know how to count, guys. 2 more for me.
To do that.
Yeah. Right. One more here and then we'll be getting our tree ready. All right. So I have my 10 6-inch pieces. I have it next to me, so I say it right. I don't mix them up. 10 6-inch pieces. And so what I typically do, and is shown in the instructions, is take about half and half. And I like to, I'm just gonna scooch that out of the way. I like to start with it kind of like an X, like that. And then what I'll do is I pick it up with my index finger and my thumb right here. And then it just makes it easier for you to twist. Sorry, let me recenter myself here. So, oh, that's okay. We'll do it one more time.
I am.
We'll do it one more time, no worries.
Oh, so you just crisscross.
Yeah, I'm just doing like a crisscross and X like that,
No.
something like that. And then I'm picking it up with my finger and my thumb towards the middle. It's okay if some of your wires are a little bit longer than others on each side. That's all right. It doesn't have to be exactly even split down the middle either. So, but generally in the middle. Uh-oh, I'm losing one. There we go. That's what happens when you're trying to show people. The wire revolts a little bit. Okay. So, what I'm gonna do then is go ahead and twist with my fingers for about 1 inch. So we'll want to do some towards the bottom, like that, right? But then at a certain point, we want them to be kind of even, right? So I'm going to turn it around like that. Do a little more twisting on this side. Okay, now if you have a larger circle, you may want it to be a bit longer than that, right? So it's going to look something like that, which doesn't look very cute yet, but I promise it'll get cuter. So we're looking at about 1 inch there, right? But if your circle is bigger, then you can twist it a bit longer. So generally mine is about the height of my circle. But it won't be when we do our next step. So it will fit in there, I promise. It does that sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it feels different from one side to the other when you're doing the twist. Yeah. Yeah, and if you do need to, that's a good point. If you do need help holding on to it, you can use your nylon jaw pliers to hold on to one side. Something like that. Just about, yeah. Which seems like there won't be any room for any chips or anything fun, but I promise we'll make it work. We'll make it fit in there. All right. So then the next thing that I do is typically going to be either with your round nose pliers or my favorite tool these days is the step up plier. I really like that, the bail making step up. But you can absolutely use just your round nose, totally fine. That's what I'll use on this project. But what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little bit more like give it a little curvy trunk is what we're gonna do. So what I usually do is I clasp it real gently with my round nose. And as you can see, it is like as far in there as you can get because I want it to be a big loop, a big circle. And if you're doing something bigger and you want to use like your bail making pliers or something like that, you can absolutely use that as your circle. And if you need to borrow one, I have it right here. That could work. Yeah. Oh yeah, like a Sharpie. Yep. You could do that. Really what we're trying to do is make a little bit of a bend here. So there is a tool. So
The little baby one.
so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my tree and I'm gonna bend it all the way over. It's gonna look real silly. But I promise it's gonna straighten out. So now what I'm gonna do, I've got it clasped at the bottom. I'm gonna just rotate my round nose up here. Doesn't have to be exact. Doesn't have to be exact. It's wire. There, it'll be fine. And I'm gonna bend it back the other way. Right? So we've got a little bit of an S curve. So at the end, it's gonna look something like that, which is gonna fit a little better, right, into here. Now you can manipulate this a little bit, right? I want my leaves to go up a little bit more straight up and down. So I can always use my round nose to just kind of bend it around or just using your fingers, right? To sort of squish it into place the way you want it. But it should generally look something like that. Yeah, the great thing about the tree of life is that everyone's tree is gonna look different. They're all organic looking, so it's your own special tree. I like to also say in my classes, some of you have been in my classes before, it's gonna look awful until it looks beautiful. So like, just keep going through it. Yeah, it's gonna look horrible until you love it. So just, keep going. Um, so what I typically do after this step, once I've kind of got my S in place, it's got a little booty tooch. Sometimes that's what I call it in my class. I can't do the motion because you can only see my hands, but once that's done, I'm going to start with what I want to be my roots. So that's going to be these down here. Now, you can just go straight down. So this is where it kind of comes into some style, right? On like what you want for your unique, beautiful tree. So you could go straight down. something like that. And then wrap around this bottom part, which we'll do next. But I do mine a little bit differently. I like mine to look a little bit more organic. But this is definitely a way that you can do it. And it does look really great too. So what I like to do is have them still in kind of their halves. I like to split each half up, something like that. And then do a little extra twisting, just like a couple twists there, right? So it's kind of coming out of my middle trunk piece. And then I just kind of separate and twist one or two times like that. It's going to start looking a little silly, but I promise it will come together. So then I'm splitting that and I'm twisting here. And then same thing here. Just splitting that one and twisting it. All right, now that does look silly, but we're gonna get it into some semblance of roots in just a moment. And I generally will point them downward, right? So instead of just poking out straight, I try to get them to go down towards the bottom of my piece. Okay, so that's just one side. Obviously this side isn't done yet, so I'm gonna do that one now. On camera, because that's what I thought. There we go. There we go. I'm figuring it out, guys. It is kind of the point, huh?
It's like,
Imagination part we've got going on too.
wait, so you do the top.
This is just the other side of the bottom. Oh, a little ahead. I'm just kidding.
Span where I forget. I'm like, oh wait, I was supposed to do all together, then split them. So, yeah, me neither. And then I
But-
did it, and then I did it
But
again.
when you walk past your favorite tree.
Oh my gosh, everyone's different.
It's gonna be different. It's all different. So you can see the measurements, right? My 6-inch pieces are a little bit longer than I probably needed on this one, but I always like to give myself plenty of space so that I don't run out of that room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, now that I've got kind of my roots kind of where I want them. They'll move around a little bit. They always do. It's wire. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start wrapping these smaller 26 gauge pieces around the 18 gauge circle that we've made here. And what I like to do is use my tools to save my fingers a little bit, right? So what I mean by that is when I start wrapping this around, I'm going to flip it upside down like that. And then you're holding your tree against the circle. And when you start wrapping around, right? I'm just trying to make sure you guys can all see it. Right, we're coming up through there. I like to grab my bent nose or my chain nose and just use that to pull gently my 26 gauge wire. Okay, so it's going to be a tight loop around this outside 18 gauge piece. Okay. We're going to wrap this around at least 2 to 3 times. You can, if you want, just continue wrapping until your next root and then wrap that one until, and we're going to be trimming off some of these ends. It won't look so scary when it's next to your skin, I promise. But I'm going to keep doing this here. Okay. And your tree can kind of move around for now. That's okay. It'll find its home. And sometimes it's not quite where you think it's going to be, but that's okay. I'm sorry, I'm holding it a little funny, so.
What if that's the way we're supposed to hold it to see it? And right through the technique, I mean,
Yeah, let me know if you're having any trouble seeing it, because,
no.
yeah. Oh, good.
Made them before, Rochelle?
I made a giant one out of really wide, and it was more of a, what do you call it, dream catcher mixture.
Sure.
That was my first one too, first and only one that I've ever made. I actually had Shelly laugh at me and say that it was, interesting.
Oh, no. Oh,
To do it, so it looks more like a tree.
I made these at summer camp
Yeah,
for years.
yeah, that's how
Because we
I
had
understood it
barter-
too.
A barter fest.
And the kids make stuff and
Kids
trade
make
it.
stuff and I trade with them. And I've gotten away with anything.
now I am just kind of pulling these down as I go. As you can see, I moved this one over here. So it's just kind of whatever feels right for your tree. It doesn't have any leaves yet. Just wait. Just wait. I would say yes. That's kind of how I roll. It's more like a bonsai, yeah. Yeah. It is now. Because you're making it here. It's made here.
It's made for Virginia, right?
Yeah. It's made in Minnesota.
This is a magnificent senior center. I'm so glad that we're here.
It is very nice.
And I wish that more folks would come to join us in person to our meetings. We're gonna do more and more of them here.
This
is a nice spot.
Space, and the library's right upstairs. It's like my favorite place in Maine. Well, besides your.
I know.
I was like. I need to make mine again.
We just got a house and our whole basement's supposed to be our craft room. But we're not there yet.
That was our speaker on Monday night.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Her,
Did a great spot.
yeah, it was her cave or dungeon, she
Oh.
calls it, cause it's in the basement.
I love that.
And yeah, walls, shelves, floor to ceiling, stocked. And all the beads are in beautiful jars in color coordinated order and
Can they come and organize mine?
That's what I big, the basement, yeah.
She was in college. Like, it was a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they said, they like to see stuff into it in the laundry room.
So when you end your little guys, you just twist them and pinch them, or?
Yeah, I'll show you that in just a minute. I actually do it in a specific.
No, that's why I asked.
So I'm just wrapping them around this bottom part.
Okay, yep.
And then after that, we'll trim these ends off. So we'll trim the ends off here. But I do do it in a specific way so that it doesn't scratch your skin. So I'll show you that in a minute. Oh, yeah, you can do that too. If you want to just continue wrapping, you can. There's some options, right? I could, for example, just see how I can show it here a little bit easier, right? So you can take and just keep wrapping here. That's an option. You could just keep wrapping it until it's done, and then you just have some extra kind of a little bit more like bumpiness on the bottom. So that's a possibility. It's really just all up to what you want to do. Kayla, can you grab me one of my trees? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna grab a sample of each and see if it kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, I did bring some actually. I just didn't think to bring them up here. But
Yeah, I've been kind of passing around too, because it's really
Yeah.
easy to. So this one would be more of like a consistent one, and then this
Yeah.
one's more of like a.
so we've got, so just as an example here, these are actually, I've made into a set of earrings, which you can do with, the same, see, these are kind of that same size. You're just putting your loop at the top a little bit differently, but, with this at the bottom, in camera, you can see that all the wires are wrapped together, kind of like that. So it just meets the next one. And then one of the other ways to do it, because there's multiple ways, is to do kind of what I'm doing with mine right now, which is just a few wraps, and then we'll trim the ends at some point. So we'll get that we'll get to that point in just a moment.
Do you ever do it so that cylinders go on, they start on opposite sides?
I have not done that, but that is a way to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
A front side and a back side.
Yeah, I mean, just with the jewelry. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever inspires you, honestly. Yeah. Yeah.
Trees grow and get more organic that way. 'Cause it's like-
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So now I've got all these. I got all these scary little ends like that, that are just sticking out at the bottom. So what I typically do for these is I will bend it to the back like that. So I'm just going to do one at a time just to show you. So I've got one of my ends, it's bent to the back. I don't want to trim it so that it pokes out at you. I want to trim it so that it is coming off a little bit here, right? So you see, maybe I'll come up here a little bit. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So I'm trimming it close, but not so that I don't want it to be trimmed on this side, because then it's just going to poke you, right? We don't want to do that. That's not nice. So the one thing to be careful on, and I've definitely done, is don't cut your roots. Be careful. Be very careful. I've definitely done it. It's not the end of the world. It's wire. It'll be fine. Unless you cut all of your roots, in which case then you just got to start over. Don't do that. But yeah, so what I'll do is just trim it as close as I can. So now I've got a couple there, and I'll take either, again, my bent nose or a chain nose, and tuck my tail kind of towards the front. So that way it is not poking you. Like that. So when you rub your finger along the outside of this, you're not feeling anything poking you. So that's kind of the goal. But I'm going to get just a little bit closer on this one. There we go. Right. So I'm just gonna pull all these back. That. And go through and trim them. And then we'll get to the fun part of decorating here soon. Yeah. This is, we're coming to the springtime when we get the leaves on top.
Love that they pop out in just a matter of a couple days.
Did you, I don't know if anybody has access to willows, but have you seen the change?
No.
Just driving out to the arbor. They popped.
They, there's a whole bunch of them around Lake of the Isles. You can
Yes.
drive over there or walk around.
But I mean, you can see it in other trees too. It's just that it's so vibrant.
Well, yeah, because they're like a yellow green.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna tuck in my little bits here. And then we'll get to our chips.
Oh, no, no.
All right, so I am feeling that just to make sure that's not gonna poke me or someone else. And it's feeling good. One other thing I like to do with my roots, I keep traveling, sorry. One other thing I like to do with my roots, just to make it look a little bit more organic, is I'm just taking my bent nose and I'm just doing a little rough up with them. Something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. And they're all going to be different. So should look something. Oh, you can focus. I know you can do it. Something like that. There we go. All right. So here comes the fun part of our chip beads. Like I said, I've got some Larimar that I'm working with, but you can work with whatever makes your heart sing. You can also do some combinations. This one has some Larimar in it, but I made a little chakra rainbow guy here for this set of earrings. So you can mix them up. You can do one for each branch. Thank you. I know tree terms. I've done this before. So you can mix it up, mix and match, do what you want to do there. But to get started, what you will do is just sort of fan your top wires out here. And now we may not use all of these. And you'll see probably I will not be using all of mine. It just depends on how big your chips are. So if you are using chips that are a lot smaller, a little bit more compact, you can probably fill up all of these wires. But with this size, I'm probably going to not use a couple of my branches, but I'll show you what to do if that happens, if you start running out of room for your leaves. And I also keep kind of positioning my middle trunk a little bit. So I've kind of squished it down a little bit like that, just because I want a little bit more room for my leaves. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just start taking chips, filling up each branch. And then similar to the bottom, we're just going to wrap the branch wire around the outside a couple times, 2-3 times. Now I like to do like maybe some like there's usually a variety within your chips, right? Doing something a little smaller and then a little bigger, and then you get towards the edge and it's a little bit bigger. That's just something that I do just to make them fit in a little bit more. But you can certainly put it on any way that you like. And I really like the alarm because it really pops. Right. So I do it just so that it meets the edge here. I want a little bit more there. There we go. You know what? I can probably do one more thin one. There we go. So now it's just meeting that edge like that. And we will wrap around this outside a couple times to secure it. And we'll trim all of the bits at the end. You can trim it as you go if you want. I just like having the option of maybe undoing it and moving it around if I really want to, right? I just like having that option. So I will leave these until the end. But it should look something like that to start with. I like starting from the outside and then going around. You don't necessarily have to do it that way. You could start in the middle and then maybe go this way. If you have a color theme in mind or something like that, it's really what you're most comfortable with. So definitely can do it a multiple different ways, whatever makes you most comfortable. This is the way that I like to do it myself. Yeah.
Do you ever twist your branches and then put them?
I do sometimes do that for sure.
Do that with school meetings.
I want to say that's what I did here. Yeah. So, here we go. So you can twist a little bit more up at the top, just to kind of separate your branches and make that part a little bit more organic. So you can absolutely do that before you start, putting chips on, or even afterwards, if you feel it in your heart, you can do that. The more twists, the less room you're going to have for the chips. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing it. In this particular piece, I did not do any twisting beforehand, but again, sky's the limit.
3 central big branches, more like
Mhm.
do that, right? And
Yeah.
then you have the little guys. coming up. Okay.
Few
Yeah.
people catching up over here, so I was gonna
Oh.
ask him to do other things other than a chip, and then I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. You don't have to use chip beads. I have an example, which is just some of these cute little opals. Let me get a little more centered here. So we've got some white and some dark opal here. So this baby was a little bit more fancy.
Lot fancy.
Yeah. So, but as you can see, you're gonna, if it's a little bit more standard shape, you're gonna see like your branches a little bit more too. But in this case, why wouldn't you want to see that? It's opals.
Right.
They're
exactly.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Don't stay at my position, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. But yeah, that was a good call. Yeah, you can use any kind of small bead. You could even mix some opals in or little beads in with your chips as well.
Have you done any with seed beads?
I haven't done any with seed beads, but you could. I mean, these are about the shape. I feel like with seed beads, the hole for the seed bead is a little bit bigger, so you might get a little bit more of a jingle with it, a little shift with it. But yeah, it's definitely an option to even just accent your chips that you have as well. I've also done it with like some metal, maybe little baby metal beads in between, like just as an accent as well. So lots of options. Yeah. The great thing about the tree is that the tree of life is that you can do anything.
Just like our own families, they're quite mixed up and diverse, and filled with all sorts of
Drama. Oh, that was.
Oh.
say variety. That's okay.
Depends.
It's
You can make a dramatic tree if you want to. That's okay.
You just have to see the hole or feel the
No,
hole.
I'm getting it to the hole, it's just not going through the hole.
What layer are you using? I have 26 gauge.
What am I using? 24.
Mm.
Maybe that's why I always end up with sleeves.
Oh yeah. I mean, the seed beads would work on the 24 gauge for sure. But yeah, the you can go up in wire for the middle part being the 26 gauge is great because you can the chips typically will fit on that pretty well. No matter what size they are. But if you go up in size, it can be a challenge.
I hadn't realized I had dropped the 24.
So my thought, since we're an hour in, Jan, do we, how are we doing on our name collecting? We do have our giveaway of the Toho Challenge kit,
Oh,
everybody that's here. And I was just wondering if
fun.
collected all our names, if we've.
I have.
Who, I don't know, and if you haven't, put in your comments so we know you're here.
Let me just double check here.
We want you to be able to participate. And we're gonna give away one virtually to our virtual joiners today and one to our in-person joiners today.
Ooh.
And we're so darn excited. We also have some great upcoming meetings, just in case you all have nothing better to do this month than get your taxes prepared. We have a special tax attorney joining us. His name is Wayne, and he will be joining us on Thursday night, April 3rd, I think, right? Yeah, April 3rd, right before the meeting. And it's all about, we're calling it she who dies with the most beads wins. But what to do with all your stuff? Should I donate it? Should I collect it? Should I get a price on it? What do I do? What are the tax implications? If I donate it, or how did my family deal with it all? All those wonderful people in our society that are published, what do they do still with their copyrights? So all those things. So this is a Facebook Live show. We will be zooming to you all and then streaming the questions. There you go. And Hannah is showing us, this is Wayne and his beautiful dog.
Look at the
He is
cutie.
just such a
Yeah.
And so it's just so many questions we never think to ask, what do I do with it all? So we took your questions that you put on Facebook for us and compiled them for him. He's been looking everything up. And then he'll answer your questions on that Thursday, April 3rd.
That sounds really exciting
And it's
and useful.
yeah, it's a free event as well. It's part of like our extra, series. So
Okay.
it is free. So
I'm
we're
ready
gonna
to
join.
do the drawing. This is for the in-person.
Okay,
Alright,
so
we're gonna let
we
you move
are
it.
going to, let's add another spotlight to our
Yeah.
in-person, here we go. All right, so here we got Anita. All right,
Ooh.
let's
Oh my
share our
gosh.
conference and Anita.
Oh my word. Believe this.
What is it?
Kayla.
Yay.
Boy,
Look at you.
those of you that know my desired size of seed bead, you know that I didn't.
She likes the big one.
All right, one more. This is the best I can.
Now, if the next one's Kayla, we'll know the answer to that other question.
So I got a couple from Facebook and the rest of them are Zoom.
All right. Super.
Do you wanna
Lynn,
try a different, you can try a different one.
joining us on Zoom. There you are.
Yes,
Let me add a spotlight.
and I will see her,
Where are you?
I will see her on Tuesday, so I can bring it to her.
Why don't you just bring it to the back and see if you can get some, try some other ones in the back and see.
Hi, Lynn.
She's having trouble getting the beads on the hole.
Say hi if you wanna, or. You still don't have your camera and you're muted, but congratulations, Lynn.
Yay! Woo!
Thank you so much for joining us. I will be quiet now and let our teacher finish.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so I know we're most of the way done. I realize now that I've been showing you everything upside down, in the camera, so sorry about that. I'm gonna try and shift that view a little bit, so it's a little easier for you to see. But yeah, so I am, as you can see, my beads are pretty big. So there's definitely no way I'm gonna be able to use all of these wires. So what I've done already is I pulled one of my wires to the back. So what I mean by that is I'm just taking one of these and just pulling it back like that. And we'll address that one later, but it's just going to be a little bit more spaced out for me. Now, you can just keep them all and kind of layer on top and make it a little bit more like of a domed piece at the top. That's also an option, like adding extra beads up there. Totally fine. I just like them to kind of meet up against each other myself. So that's just kind of the style I go for. But we will address these in a little bit, because what if I get over here and I think I want another branch, then I can pull it back. So I like leaving my options open. It just gives you a little bit more to play with as you're going through. So where's one of these out here? But look how pretty. Ah, I love that color. Ooh, ooh, there we go. Sometimes it's hard to get the bead on there.
Right, because they can't hear the questions. When
Oh.
from the room, so.
I'm so
if you
sorry.
Repeat it before you answer it, then they'll be able to hear better.
I'm living and learning here.
Well, so
I have to repeat the
please,
question.
because,
Totally makes sense.
we're trying to limit
Thank
the.
you.
Use of the group so that
Mhm.
everyone hears you beautifully.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
But it's so fun to have all these ways to join, whether it's
Mhm.
on Zoom or on Facebook, and we're trying to have at least one meeting a month, like in one meeting a month in person, or maybe every other month at the latest, it's just, we
That's
gotta get together. And the Edina Senior Center is more reasonably priced than our other venues we've been to in the past. So, especially with more members we've got, we can have 40 people in this beautiful classroom.
It doesn't look like 40, but yeah, you could get a lot more.
Yeah.
Especially if it's tables with chairs on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so like for a holiday party, but I think that
Yeah.
was their capacity that they said for
Looks
this
like
room.
24 for class.
But,
But for a holiday party, I
Yeah.
think we could get.
it's
I'm-
not that far out either.
It's conveniently located between me and Kayla. So that worked out really well for us. Conveniently located.
Oh, right on, that's so cool.
From where you live.
Yeah, pretty much.
You could do it.
Willow.
I am doing a willow.
Why are your branches going down?
We
It's
don't
dancing.
judge the
Oh, I'm
trees,
so sorry.
Kayla. It's whatever is in your heart.
That's what's in her heart. I needed it drawn out for me.
Yeah,
One of them I was a willow tree.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Green and purple willow.
You're a big tree? Yeah.
Nice.
You know that song.
At least you get-
Rainbow Made of Children.
The rainbow is made of children.
Yeah,
We are a rainbow made of children. Oh,
So you were just looking for sort of a flat piece that would fit in there, right?
Oh, on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, it just was one that happened to fit between these beads and this one. So I just wanted to get a little bit extra in there. But yeah, I was looking for just a flatter one. It doesn't necessarily have to be a flat one on the outside, but it typically ends up getting to that point because of all the ones that are added in between. So, but yeah, good question. Also, I know it's upside down again. It's really hard for me to hold it the other way.
No worries about that. We're fine.
I appreciate that. I was looking at the screen. I'm like, oh, it must be just that way for me. No. That's how it looks for everybody. I got there.
It isn't always just about us.
All right, so just getting towards the end of filling these up, I might actually pull another one back. But I like starting out with so many wires to begin with because it gives you a really good bottom part, right? With the with your roots, which technically bottom part would be that way, right? So so it just gives you a really good root system at the bottom. And then the top, you have as many wires as you need to be able to fill it up with your chips. And it is kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, right? You're just fitting your chips together to just fill it in.
A couple of things. I will do a pitch just as you're finishing up and as the
Yeah.
people here seem to be catching up. So folks, we did ship out just like one kit / a couple kits to one person. We still do have plenty of kits available. We were doing $25 for a full spool of wire in the 18 and 26. So you can make a lot of them. The other thing, oh, hi. The other thing that, so Facebook message us is our preferred mode of contact / email us, be the vibes
With an
with
extra
two
S.
S's at gmail.com. So we do have plenty of kits available, and different wire and all sorts of stuff. Also Natalia does do a bunch of different wire wrap things, which we can always post on our page too. You can definitely purchase her instructions. This one is one of the ones that we wanted to kind of elaborate a little bit more here. We had special requests to elaborate. So this is the Enchanted Tree of Life, and is this just like a Tree of Life 102 kind of thing?
Yeah, so this is kind of the next level up. So with this Tree of Life class, the one we're doing right now, we just have the chips at the top and the roots at the bottom. With this one, the Enchanted Tree of Life, it pulls in instead of having the same kind of root structure, we're putting in a stone of some sort at the bottom. And then you've got your chips underneath. Of course, this one is smoky quartz, and then I have these little lapis pieces on top. So it gives you a little extra down here, a little extra on the top. We also do a little bit of a different like bail on the top too. It gives you a little extra pizzazz. So
And that's just a rough stone. It's not drilled on the bottom there.
yep, this is just a rough stone. I have one more example that I'm wearing. It's my favorite one, so that's why it's mine. It's not.
So you kind of cage it in there
Yeah.
with the root.
Yeah. So it's more of a rough stone caged. And so this one is the one that I like wearing. I've got a little bit of opal with the blue shine on it. So also great for opals. And I've got my kyanite and some crystal just on the top there, right? But that's another kind of just a step up from the basic Tree of Life. But it just gives you some more options on like what you can do. It gives you some more ideas on how to explore trees
Thank
of
you.
life.
So yeah, so we have that available for instructions that we can email you, the Enchanted Tree of Life.
Set that up here while I'm working. In this one, off the top of my head, I'm not really sure how many I put in there. That's a great question. If you purchase the instructions, you will know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She was asking. So sorry. She was asking how many wires are in this one. I want to say I did 10 because it's longer. And at the end you get both sets up at the top, basically. So but yes, instructions are available with the real for real details. Yeah, thank you. It was a really fun project, and I was just, I had been doing the Tree of Life at Lotus Beads for a while, and I wanted to explore like what other ways we could do it. And also coincidentally, we had just gotten these opals from from Tucson. I was like, how can I put this into something I can play with more?
12 and 12-inch pieces, and then you just have one extra piece for the bail part that weaving back.
Right,
Yeah.
up here.
Yeah.
And it's the same gauges though, too. So if you get a kit with the 26 gauge and the 18 gauge wire, and then just add like instructions for either the Enchanted Tree of Life. I also have instructions for Tree of Life earrings, which are more around like this size typically. But it's paired with a Tree of Life ring, which I don't have the instructor, or I don't have an example of that, but there's that. So those 3 options that I have for instructions are all using the 18 gauge and the 26 gauge wire. So I just wanted to kind of call that out, that those kind of pair well together. They're all the tree type instructions. I do have, while we're talking about it, we do have a couple other selections. I want to say this one also, I believe, so this one's Renaissance Raindrop. And I want to say this is also the 18 gauge and the 26 gauge wire that I use. Either that or it's 28. It might be 18 and 28 gauge wire. You'll have to see in the instructions if you buy them. Can't remember off the top of my head on that one. But yeah, this one's super fun. I'll just try to get it to focus a little bit better and hold it a little nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit more of a weave. This is a bead, of course, that has a hole through it. So it's going to be something that has a that's like a briole wrap kind of option, right? So little this one's like a quartz point, but there's that. Yes, Renaissance raindrop, which I always have to remember how to spell. It's like, why'd I choose that? But it's so cute. So, right, right. That is true. That is true. I do have two more. One is really like my first big class that I made, which is the diamond weave ring.
Super pretty.
So let's see.
What's the stone in it?
So this one is just a crystal. I want to say it's just like a blue, like
Wow,
crystal.
yeah.
It's what we call as an onion bead. So it's like it's actually meant to be kind of like a drop. So you've got a hole up here, but it's kind of a fat drop.
So it's a top drill.
Yeah. She's a top drilled baby.
But two.
Mhm. I prefer onion beads because well, that's the first thing that I heard it called was an onion bead, but I also it resonated with me because my grandpa used to call me onion, onion in a petunia patch, because my mom called me petunia in an onion patch. Anyway, the more you know about me. But that's the diamond weave ring. I also have this one here too.
Semi-precious typically, like the vendors of semi-precious call it onion.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of where we got
So
it.
another kind of option here. You can use glass beads. I do have some that I have made with a glass bead. The hole is bigger on those ones. The semi-precious stones can be a little bit more, like the hole can be a little bit more iffy, but what we're putting through that hole is a 28 gauge. So this one does use 3 gauges of wire, 18 gauge, 22, which is kind of in here, and then the 28, which is actually wrapped all the way around this outside bit here too. So there's that, and then one last one, but wait, there's more. So we have the diamond weave earrings. So that is using an 8mm round at the bottom and the same wires. So the 28 gauge, the 18 and the 22. So just something.
Very pretty wrap. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I could do that once.
It's actually like once you start going, like all together, it seems like a lot, but when you're going step by step, it's actually not so wild. There is counting involved. But that usually when I teach the class and it gets like really quiet, I know everyone's gotten to the point where they're all counting. So anyway, so those are just a few of the other things that we have available for instructions just to purchase. We don't have those necessarily as kits, but we do have the instructions for those ones.
Oh,
With
nice.
the show that you'll be doing, because don't you do the breweries and stuff? And
Well-
some fun outdoor activities.
That is an excellent question. Right now, we don't have anything on the books. However, we are trying to get into some art of whirl events and stuff like that. So more to come on our Instagram and Facebook on where we'll be next. For now, we just don't have anything in the books, but we're getting there. We're getting there. All
Just
right.
getting out of our birth month.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to
Reveal.
we had to celebrate hardcore for our birth month.
Now we get serious.
Yeah.
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 She's on the 20th, February 20th, and I'm on the 22nd, and hers is a birth anniversary because she
Yeah.
got married on that
I
day.
did.
And our shared birthday then is the 21st.
Yep, that's what we
So
call it.
just take the month to celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions on Zoom or on Facebook that, for Natalia? We really would love to hear from you if you're having any challenges or you have any questions.
Harry on Zoom says that it's a wonderful, fun project and thank you.
Oh,
And,
Thank you.
and Lynn has thanked us for the kit. It looks like everybody is really happy. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Oh, thank you.
Let me
I'm
make
so
sure that there's
excited.
not any questions on Facebook. Oh, Rita would like to know how many chips you flipped on the floor.
How many
Oh.
chips? I have about a dozen
I was gonna say over time or just right now?
right now.
Right now, so far, so good. I've got
Oh,
my
gosh.
I've got my bead mat with the little, it helps me to keep them from falling off. But I have to put all these in a bag. So like, I'm gonna say predicting at least a few are gonna go on the floor. But over time,
Uh,
hard to tell.
Fingers are better than mine.
I've just, to be fair, I have done it a few times.
Yep.
Right.
So how do we buy your patterns? Where do we find them at on you have an Etsy site? I'm guessing you do, but.
We do not currently have an Etsy site.
Oh, okay.
We are working on it. We're working on it. So if you just either shoot us an email at
Okay.
the vibes with two S's at gmail.com, or you can grab us on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay, sounds good.
Facebook too?
It's one S on Facebook and two S's on Instagram, I think. We really tried to make it just be the vibes, but it didn't work out across all places. So, but if you just look up "Be the Vibes," you'll see Kayla and my smiling face on there. I think it's the same picture currently as what was in the invite. So. But yes, if you just message us there, we can coordinate and get that set up for you.
Okay,
And
sounds good.
someday
Okay,
we
so
will
Be
get to Etsy.
Be the Vibes also has two S's on Instagram.
I believe so, yes. But if you just search for Be the Vibes, you should be able to, you should see us.
And I definitely want that earring pattern. That looks like it's so great to make.
Thank you.
And we
Yeah.
also want, here it is, we're showing it
That's
to you
us.
now. Hannah just brought it up because she's our amazing technical wizard.
Thank you, Hannah.
Beautiful. You found us. It is a different picture than the one we shared. I forgot that I updated that.
One you look extra happy because we're in Tucson.
Oh, that's true. We were in Tucson at
Yeah.
that point, and I had my really sparkly visor on that I also got in Tucson. Very exciting. I forgot I had it because it was winter, and I'm really excited to use it soon. Anyway, getting back to it, I'm just doing the same thing with my wires that I did on the bottom, right? So I'm pulling it to the back, doing a little trim, and then I'm going to tuck in my end. I am not doing anything with these ones that I've pulled back yet. So I'll show you those ones afterwards, but I'm first going to trim these ones and tuck in my tails. You do not have to save these. So just again, these guys that I've pulled to the back, It's just because there would have been too many branches. So it's all up to the individual project. You may want more or less depending on bead size and etc.
So how many twirls did you do and how do you finish it off?
So how many twirls and how did I finish it off? I did about 2 to 3 around the outside. And then to finish it off, we're doing similar to what we did at the bottom, right? We're going to pull our wire to the back like that. And we're going to trim this off here and then don't trim your branch. But it should be something like that if it could focus. So you see it's kind of sticking up there, but I'm going to go ahead and tuck my tail in. Oop, totally missed it. There we go. The professional. The professional Facebook liver. So that is a good point. So I've tucked it in. I'm just feeling it so that I know it's not going to poke me when I put this on as a necklace. Less high stakes if, you know, you're making them for earrings, but you still don't want it to grab your hair. So. Yeah.
It's not gonna get caught in my hair today. Wear your hair up anytime you wear wire wrap jewelry.
It does help.
Charm bracelets. Yes, it's pretty much just a guideline.
Get rid of those here. All right, now I'm going to tuck in my little ends. There we go. There we go. And then we are almost done because we'll have to do our little circle at the top. There we
I like your rings, Natalia. Did you make your rings as well?
go. Well, you know. Did I make the rings as well is the question. And Kayla knows she made this one, which is
The cute little drop.
super cute. Got a little drop. We've got some blue goldstone. I was gonna say the wrong word. Blue goldstone. And this is just a little shell. But super cute. One of my favorites. It's like a dramatic point. Dramatic. And then we have just a plain wire wrapped ring. You can probably see it better here. But also pair wire, just an 8mm bead, smoky quartz for this one. Yes, this is 22 gauge. Oh, stop.
So do you
Stop moving.
hammer
There we go.
these to make it harder or no?
I don't hammer this one. It's just more sturdy because there's, as you can see, there's a bunch wrapped around. So I probably wrap it around 4 or 5 times. So you just have more wire. But it's easier to finish the ends when you have the 22 gauge. 20 gauge is a little bit too much, and then the 24 for most pair wire is going to be too soft for that. Excluding, I want to say, faux gold. Faux gold is a little firmer. But yeah, this is just our simple wire wrapped with the 8mm stone, and this one does have a little hammering. It's just this little circle here that gets hammered, right? It's not the whole thing. It's just that one. Yeah. Kayla is nodding.
Oh, sorry. Not everybody. Can
Yeah,
see me
yeah,
on camera.
I need your nod to have subtitles and vocals,
Or you
please.
stand right behind me, so you can see me in the corner here.
All right, almost done with these here. There we go. Okay, so now I've got some wires that I just didn't use. And you could just kind of trim them off and then tuck them in. Sometimes what I'll do though is I'll just sort of weave them in a little bit, do a little circle around. So what I'm doing here is going back through to the front, around my trunk, and then back to the back. And then again, trimming it so that I can tuck it in. So I'm not gonna feel this poking at me. And I just happen to have 3 that I didn't use, but you may have more or none. A little harder to tuck this one in, but we'll get there. Right, Pairwire, don't embarrass me.
Who does that?
We're kind of doing a thing right now, Wire. I need you to cooperate.
I've given you the proper like tagging, you know, of your branding.
About 12 times.
Come
let's go.
on. Ah. There we go.
Really?
It's broken though.
No, it's doing well.
It's doing just fine.
Well, you have copper wire, and copper is very strong. I mean, that's why the pair wire is a copper core, as they say, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I've found if you were to go up to like sterling silver or something like that, then the parawire like feel is closest to like the dead soft sterling silver. To me, you can always harden it, of course, if you're using it as an outside or just using the firmer one for the outside, but for middle, I do dead soft. All right, there we go. The 26 gauge, yeah. All right. So now I've tucked in all my wires. I don't feel anything poking on the back side. So we are almost done. All right. We've got this. So this top part is a little different. There's a few different ways you could do it. In the instructions, that's what we're gonna, do is just like a loop on the top. You could add a bead and then do a wrapped loop on the top. That's a possibility. For these will just do a simple loop, where it just, is just a loop. It doesn't circle around at all. So typically that's what I do. And I find that it stays on, just fine. No, I don't usually have any problems with it. So it's gonna look something more like this, which, if it will, so you can see that it doesn't wrap around anything, right? It's just that loop right there. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Also want to make sure that your loop is big enough to accommodate your chain or leather or whatever you want to put it on. So those are things to keep in mind when you are making that loop. Typically, when we make the loop, we want to come with our round nose all the way to this inside bit too, right? That's going to give you the biggest loop that you can get. Again, I like my step baler, so I'm going to use that. So this is clearly a lot of wire for the top, but we're going to trim it afterwards. So what I want to do is take your piece. This is the top of your piece, the front side of your piece that'll face the world. And you're gonna take your wire and bend it towards you. So it's gonna look something like that. Okay. For those that were not paying attention, I'm gonna do it one more time. That's all right. It's wire. We can do it one more time. All right. So,
You're talking to
this is
me.
the side that faces the world. All right. We're gonna take our wire at the top and we're gonna bend it straight towards you. So it's kind of a 90-degree angle. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm using, again, my step up bail pliers. I like using, what is this? 1, 2, 3, the 4 is what I think you would call it. Going from 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Or again, you can just use your round nose, just make sure you're going up to make it as big as you can. And then I'm just gonna clasp here, like that. Just trying to get all the angles so it makes sense. No, oh, yeah, okay. All right. And then I'm going to take that wire and bend it over the top. Something like that. Should look like this. We're going to take our pliers out, clasp the top instead, and then finish our circle like that. Okay. Now, you do have a couple options. One is just to trim this right here. Another option is you can use this piece and you can make like a spiral right at the top. That's a possibility. The instructions are just for the basic loop and you trim here. I'm gonna make a spiral because that's what my heart says. That's what my heart says. So if you want to do a spiral, that's where I would get my round nose. And I'm going to clasp the bottom as close as you can. It doesn't have to be right at the edge because right at the edge, you just have a tendency to pinch it too tight and then it doesn't work. So we're going to, how do I show? There we go. Like that. So I'm just putting it at the edge and I'm going to roll it towards the wire. So you can see here that our circle has a little bit of a flat side. So what I do for a perfect spiral is I trim off my little flat side. I just trim it. Let's get rid of it. So I'm going to do that.
No, I'm just like, you're doing it.
So you can see that you've only got the little circle part left. Okay. We're going to keep doing our spiral. So, all right. So I'm going back in. I'm going to start kind of overlapping my wire a little bit until I can't anymore. And then I like, again, my bent nose. My bent nose are my favorite because you can grab it a little better. You're holding on to your spiral. You're going to just keep pushing it into place. And then I'm just going to manhandle it into place. Kind of like that.
Got his handle.
Yeah, it's like, oh, man.
I'm so sorry. People handle it into place. That is a good point. It's one of those that you don't think about until you say it and you're like, oh, I didn't like that. But that gave us a little spiral here at the top. But once that's done, whether you do a little spiral, whether you just trim it off, or do a wrap loop with a bead on the top, any of those options, then you're done. And then as my instructions say, enjoy your pendant. Yay! Thank you.
Yeah, so there is a couple of people here that aren't done. Do we want to do a little bit of a show and tell?
We do, let
Miss
us,
Rochelle and Miss Kayla, I would love for you to start that while I run out for a second.
yeah, no, that's actually what we're gonna do, so let's see who, I'm gonna come, if you wanna come up to my camera. This might be the easiest.
The first people. Yep.
We have a camera right here and right there. And that way we can see you. And you put your hand behind it. There you go. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty.
Very nice.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know how easy this is gonna be to see, but.
Yeah. Oh, a little higher.
Okay, where am
There you go. That's the
Oh,
camera
okay.
right there.
Oh,
There you
wow.
go.
Oh, that's
so-
great.
Having trouble focusing.
So fabulous.
I'm having trouble focusing.
Look at that beautiful thing on your shoulder. Well, now it's gone.
I
do my top, cause I'll use my step pliers at home, but.
That's really pretty.
Nice. Does anybody else want to show theirs?
Mine's not.
Mine's not done yet either, but I will show you. I am making a willow tree. Let's see how. Why is that focus? Oh my gosh, I'm too sparkly. I apologize.
And then
But, yeah, it's a willow, so I've got really long branches. And then this is my new one I'm getting there, so.
Yeah,
mine's
so these
a
are
little
cutters.
cuckoo
So
for
those ones
green
are the
cups.
cutters and then
But it's-
her bent.
And here's
ones.
mine.
All right, Jan. There you go, that's the camera right there. There you go.
And those are really nice
Perfect,
because they
yeah.
are really bent. and
I
they can
love
hold
it. You did a really nice job.
Well, I didn't get the bottom. Right.
That's so cool.
Like,
And so while we've all got you too, let's see, anybody at home, I'm gonna remove my spotlight and then let's see, Beth, hold on, I'm gonna spotlight you for everyone. So, oh, that's a wire wrap ring. Oh, that's pretty, Beth. You can.
Yeah,
undo
very
the
nice.
Talk if you want to.
wow.
That's cool.
I love that.
I love it, I love it.
I love it.
Mwah. We love you, Beth. We're so happy you could join us today. You can unmute and speak, you know.
Okay, and just to let you know, I do care and I do love you all. It's family. This team is family. And I need you. Thank you.
Right back at you, darling.
Thanks. I'm a little bit slower on getting my pendant done, but I was trying to decide what chipstones I wanted to do, and so I finally decided that I want to do some more tiger's eye. So that's what I'm going to put on it.
Right on. Well, you know, there's no judgment in wire wrap there, and we just do it in our own time. And I can't wait to see it when it's done. So then you can post pictures and we'll see when it's done.
Okay, I will. I can't wait.
And I
Thank you.
encourage everyone to post pictures when you're done in our events or on our Upper Midwest Bead Society group page so that we can see, you know, what you're all doing. And I was just wondering, is Hannah still here? Otherwise,
Hi, I'm here.
Pamela. Okay, Pamela, we spotlight you first, so then we can see your beautiful. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's great.
And are those seed beads? You have to unmute for us to hear you, Pamela.
Oh, that's pretty.
Did you use CD?
Unmute. Okay. Can you hear
There you
me?
go.
I can.
Did you
Yeah,
use beads?
I ended up I found some vintage beads. So I thought I would try that. They're a little big, so they do kind of slip around, but I found that you can really move these branches around. So it's pretty fun. So thanks.
Yeah, very pretty.
And I love
Kind
that
of
you
a
use
fall
the
tree.
dark wire for the frame and then the
Mhm.
bright
Yep,
wire.
in my head.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to make it more of an oval, but this is my first wire wrapping project. So
That looks great.
for the
Yeah.
instruction.
It won't be your last.
No, exactly.
I think that's a good call out. You can make any outside that you want. You don't have to do a circle. You can do a square.
So does anybody else want to show us their piece that's virtual?
I would
Rita
like
says she'd
to.
love to.
Hold on,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find you, Rita.
Okay.
That's my bird's butt.
Oh, there you are, Rita. I'm sorry. I'm gonna spotlight you for everybody. There you are.
Okay. Where am I?
Yeah, just show us in your camera. Lift it a little higher. There you go.
Wow, that's
Put your hand behind it,
awesome.
darling, so that there you go. Oh, it's
It's
fabulous.
not finished, but it is a larger piece. It's not the little
That's
pendant
awesome.
piece, and it's not round anymore either. It started out more round, but the roots kind of pulled it to the oval. So yeah,
Are you
I
gonna
like
hang
it.
that in a window, Rita?
Oh, probably. Yep. Yeah, I
It's
think so.
fabulous.
Yeah, thanks.
That would be super. In a
That's
way,
awesome.
yeah. And I love how it organically changed shape. I think that's, super
Patty
nice.
says she loves how everyone is so different and unique.
Absolutely, super cool. So
And
darn
then she
excited.
also said she's always wanted to make one of these, and thank you for the tips and inspiration.
You're welcome.
Hi there, I have one to show, Lynn.
Yay.
I'm trying to
Let's see
spot
yours,
you.
Lynn.
There you go, sweetie.
There it
Oh,
is.
look at that. That's gorgeous.
Wow.
Wow. Yes, I love it.
So I've
And
made
did
a
you use
few,
Jasper?
it's hydrolite or something.
Oh,
I'll have
nice.
to look at it again. I've made some in the past, but the tips and tricks are really awesome, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for making such a beautiful piece.
Yeah, it's fun.
Great. Is
Very
that
pretty.
copper on the outside?
Yep,
Or just
I used copper.
it's
Mhm.
beautiful.
So
Came out
it'll
really
it-
nice.
Yeah, it's not coated, so it's gonna tarnish, but I think that'll
Yeah.
be awesome for a tree.
Yeah,
Oh, a nice pretty tarnish.
gorgeous.
Thank you. All right, anybody else want to show? Bernie, Patty, no, okay, anybody? Lynn? All right. Well, Hannah, do you want to tell us about, we have our upcoming members meeting, and
Oh,
that's on
sure.
April 7th, right?
That's right. Hang tight for just a second.
No worries, I'm just going to try to spotlight you.
So our April 7th regular meeting is actually in person as well, and Jen Segrist will be, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't know if I was on silent, sorry. Anyway, Jen Segrist will be zooming in. She was going to speak about beadwork during the medieval and Elizabethan era, and she's going to focus on bead embroidery. Jen has been documenting and researching European beadwork spanning the 10th to 17th centuries for over 30 years. She started out as a member of the SCA, which is the Society for Creative Anachronism, an international medieval research and nonprofit organization in the early 90s. She began researching beadwork within the time period. So at that point in the 90s, there was very little information about it. So she started hunting for it, and she started a website, which I'll show you in just a second. Hang tight. Stop share.
Looks gorgeous. Yes.
No.
And then of course I still have a picture of my first one.
So she started a website at that point called medievalbeads.com as an information storehouse for photos
That's cool.
and item information of bead embroidery in the covered centuries. 25 years later, her website now holds 200 examples of beadwork. So that's fun to look at. Once again, it's medievalbeads.com.
The donut bales.
And most of those are
was in your
examples that
class,
are
no?
hidden from public museum storerooms, making it the largest single research on the topic.
This I ended up giving to someone who.
So there, that she will be our meeting in April. And then she will also be our Saturday Bead Live person. Do you remember, Rochelle, what date that is?
I was just looking that up, but I knew you were about to ask.
Hang
me.
tight, hang tight. I will look it up.
Wait, right here.
Uh,
Oh, wow.
It's the
Let's
12th,
see.
Hannah.
Wow. Some of the-
It's the 12th, perfect. So on April 12th, she will also be teaching us a class on pin cushions. So I'll show you that picture right now. I thought I had it up. Hang tight while I find that picture. Hold on, guys. Sorry. There we go. So she will be our next Saturday Bead Live. She will be teaching us how to make these pin cushions.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's pretty fancy.
I know, but she says
Cute.
they only use 2 or 3 colors of embroidery floss, 2 colors of felt. And in these cases, I think she's used wool felt, but regular craft felt works. You need a little bit of stuffing and you need a bottle cap, and that's it. So that
bottle
is
cap.
our next regular meeting and our next Saturday Bead Live. And then don't forget that we have a special meeting with Wayne on, was that the 3rd? I think it's the 3rd.
The 7th.
Our regular meeting is on the 7th, right?
Correct. Yeah, and
But
Wayne-
our special meeting with Wayne is on the 3rd, right?
Yeah, the special meeting with Wayne is on the 3rd and the special is on the 7th, or the 3rd and the 7th.
Right, and then this is on the 12th.
And that's on the 12th.
So we have a lot going on in
Going
April.
on.
We have lots and lots going on in April.
So join the fun. We are so darn excited. And then if you haven't got time to come to our meeting, but want to help anyway, I have got a year-long peace chain project that we're starting. And so I know a lot of you have started and made peace rings in the past. And or whether you have made an eternal hope peace ring bracelet. But now what we're doing is connecting the chains together and the rings together in a chain. And I want to make a mile-long peace ring chain by August 6th, 2026. That's the Day of Peace in Japan. And so that will be celebrating our 11th year of the Peace Ring Project. We're trying to bring world peace with 1 gram of beads at a time. So,
Rochelle,
yes.
oh, sorry. I have a question. Some of my friends who are watching me do this are asking, and one of them is helping, are asking what happens to the peace chain when the World Peace Day is over with?
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the Grand Connection. So it'll be at the Mall of America on the 6th, and each row around the mall is 1 mile. So that's why my goal is 1 mile. So it'll be a social media event, a Grand Connection. And then after that, it will be sent to Japan. And we will then hopefully have a Grand Connection in Japan at the Peace Memorial Park in Hiroshima. And so we'll try to circle the park. So depending on how fast it happens, how long we can get it, and whether I can join the party in Japan or not for that party too. But we'll start for the first one and then go for the second. But Peace Memorial Park is right where the atomic bomb dome is. And they have a ceremony there every August 6th, the Day of Peace. And then they light their candles and they put messages in them and send them afloat along the river. And so then it connects with the people who died during the war and then the hopes and prayers for the peace of the future. And so it's like a 3-day special event in Japan. And so we hope to, like I said, world peace is, 1 bead away. We have beads are our common language. And through beading, we can break down barriers and become friends and find a connection. So we really hope that, so if you want beads and you want to join, you don't have any, they're made with the Toho Eiko beads or the Toho treasures. And it's the Peace Ring stitch that we came up with a long time ago. And we have the patterns, and if you want to get free beads, let me know, contact me. And I really appreciate all your help because we're connecting through beads, 1 gram of beads at a time. Let me know, and then we will be bringing beads to the retreat. So if you're going to the retreat, Jan and Rita will both have IGO seed beads for you. And then we have the cute little patterns. We'll email you all the other patterns for it. And then you can join the project. And if you don't want to make the whole chain, you can just make the strip of the beads, and that way we'll use them to connect the chains together. We appreciate you joining our party, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And join us again at Upper Midwest Bead Society, umbs.org. On the calendar page, we'll tell you all our wonderful events. And then on the membership page is where you could join. It's only $35 a year, and it's 12 meetings for the members, and that's the first or second Monday of every month. And then we have an activity meeting that happens on one of the Saturdays. And that's free for all. So we encourage you to join and have fun meeting and connecting around this. So thanks so much for joining, everybody. Y'all have a super great day now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.